Well, hello. Welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger on April 7th, 2024. So today's topic might be a bit touchy for some people, especially for parents, and especially for parents with young children. So I'm going to apologize in advance if I offend any of you. But I think this is something that really need to be said uh, on this topic. Have you ever been on a plane and you are very tired? You just had a long working day out of town. The hotel sucked. You didn't have any sleep. And you have to wait for hours at the airport. And then you have this great, long, uncomfortable 6 hour flight ahead of you. And you sit down and you think, okay, that's fine. I'm just going to close my eyes and put on a movie or put on some music and I'm going to fall asleep and it will be great. And then to your horror, there are some kids sitting behind you, and every time you're just about to fall asleep, they kick the back of your chair or they scream really loud or they're laughing and hitting each other and it's like and in your head you're like, where the F is where the F are the parents? Why aren't the parents doing anything? Why like and you want to turn around and say something, but then you know that you can't because you know that the moment that you even turn around and say something, well, if you say it nicely, you know they're going to ignore you. And if you say it with a little bit of a force, then everyone, most likely their parents and the other adults related to them, but even bystanders, going to say, "Hey, dude, just chill it, okay? They're disturbing us too, but they're just kids. They're just kids, man. Hey, dude, just cool it, right? Like, and suddenly you feel like the biggest asshole in the world, and you were the victim to begin with, right? Like you have all this pent up frustration, and now you look like the biggest asshole in public because you tried to tell these kids to be quiet. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can go on and on about how pleasant things are. Personally, I don't like kids. Okay, I never hide that fact. I teach children in martial art. I will not go out of my way to harm children. If someone is harming children, I most likely will save children. But I personally hate children. Right? Why? Because, well, children are very annoying. uh, as a blind person, especially children capitalize on that stuff. I had so many students try to play trick on me while I'm teaching them. Like I ask them to do something and they make all the appropriate noises like they're doing it, and while they're just laying there looking on their phone, like stuff like that. Adults think differently. When adults come to take martial art lesson, you pay good money, so you listen to what I ask you to do because you know that if you don't, then you don't benefit from the class. Children don't think that way, right? The mom paying me so I can teach them martial art, and they come and they think any time they can fool the instructor is a great time. So it's a completely different ballgame, and it's very frustrating, very stressful. And imagine when you have your own disability constantly rub in your face because some a-hole kids is trying to exploit it, right? It's just not nice. Uh, and on top of that, children say the darnest, most cruel things. And I probably mentioned this before. There was one time when I was training a student, and my student who was 8, and he didn't mean anything by it, but it hurts, right? My student said to me, "Wow, Sensei, didn't you get silver medal from the World Tournament for Canada?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, that was a couple of years ago, but yeah, I got silver." And my student, without missing a beat, he said, "Man, if you were sighted, I bet you get gold medal." Ow. Like, Ow. So it's not like sensei. So what happened? Like how did you lose, or how come you didn't get first? Like no asking me. It's like you got second. You didn't get first because you're blind. Ow, ow, ow. And at that moment, I wish I could just like take a big pillow and smack him across the room with it. But nah, just one of those evil thoughts. I'm pretty sure most of us indulge in when we're around annoying kids and annoying people sometimes. Like, don't judge me. I know you think that way too. Uh, so anyway, I did not do that. Okay, I had to be polite and try to laugh it off. And then there was another time when during class something fell on the floor. It was a training knife that fell on the floor. And me and my two kid students, we were scrambling all over the place looking for it because, as you know, when you have kids around, it's just general chaos everywhere. Um, and I was trying to look for where it landed, and one of the kids said to me, "Hey, Sensei, go sit down. You're just in the way. You can't see it. We'll find it." Ouch! And you know what? In the end, they did not find it. Uh, it wasn't until they were out of there and I had the whole place to myself, and I used very scientific method, like where did it land, where did I hear it land, and where would it bounce off to, and I found it. Okay, so I texted their mom. I said, "Tell your kid the blind guy found the training knife." I left it at that, right? But these were just some examples of the kind of things that I have to deal with when dealing with children, and this is a big part of why I hate children. Okay, some people are saying, "Yeah, well, but they're so cute, they're young, Look, they're only cute, and either you love kids, which is okay, goody for you, or it's your own kids. Okay, if they're your own kids, then I understand. Yeah, you're supposed to love them, like right? Like I understand that. Uh, uh, I have a cat, Tiger, who is very aggressive. Everybody hates Tiger, other than me and a couple of my friends and Kitten, who is like Tiger's mommy. But we understand that, like, people hate Tiger because he's mean, he's vicious. We don't hold people accountable when people say your cat is not nice. We hate your cat. We understand that, right? We love him because he's our cat. So why can't people who have children understand that? Look, it's your kid. You think it's cute when they say mean things, and you think it's something they'll grow out of, but it's not my kid. I don't have to like them. I don't have to put up with that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent leading up into today's episode: how to deal with annoying kid, because sometimes they're really hard to deal with. As I already mentioned, when you want to deal with them, you end up looking like the bad guy, and it sometimes it's just counterproductive. You end up hurting everybody's feeling, including your own. I have known so many people, myself included, they are pros at survival. They can build a house with their one hand tied behind their back. They can face down a bear without losing their cool. You can put a snake in their bed and they don't even blink an eye. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but I've known a lot of people who are just total badasses, like totally capable of dealing with anything. You feel that if the world fall on their shoulder, they would be okay, and then they don't know what to do with kids. Okay, when these annoying kids show up in their life, they don't know how to handle it. So today I'm going to talk about how to handle these annoying kids. Okay, there's three ways to do this. One, we're going to start with the hardest one. It's a long way, okay? And this is also the best way, but uh, it takes time. Yeah. Annoying kids don't happen in one day. Okay, let's get this clear. Let's get this straight. Usually, annoying kids happen because their parents are a-holes, right? Okay, so if you are one of those parents, I'm sorry, just calling it how it is. If your kids are annoying people, being bullies, or throwing temper tantrums whenever they feel like, and they are getting away with it because whenever someone yell at them, you jump in and you are siding with your kid. I say, hey, dude, hey, don't yell at my kid. It's just a kid, right? He's 5 years old. He doesn't know. Then I'm sorry, you are an a-hole. Because this kid is not getting the proper guidance that he or she should at home. If you let him or her get away with it today, then 10 years later, they are going to try to get away with bigger things. Okay? You think that them squishing a bug for fun, like burning ants with the magnifying glasses today, you think that's cute. Tomorrow they'll be killing puppies. 10 years from now, they might kill somebody. Or at the very least, they're going to bully some poor kids in school. Then what? Okay, you are setting them down a path of darkness. People think that kids are innocent and angelic, but as a trained psychologist and sociologist, I can tell you, kids are just like everybody in the world. There's light and darkness inside. When that darkness come out, when the tentacles of those impulses come out, when they feel that they can say mean things, or act out of line, that tentacle is reaching out, feeling its way, and see how much they can get away with. You need to smack it down and make that tentacle go back in. Okay? No. I'm not saying that you should physically hit them, although I'm probably going to get slack for that, and it's hard. It's weird for me to say this because I came from a very abusive family, right? But I don't think that it's wrong to smack your kid if they really act out of line. I'm not saying to go like just kick them on the head with your foot or to punch them in the face, but proper. Okay, George, this is what you did, okay? This is why I'm going to smack you on your butt. Or this is why I'm to smack you on the back of your wrist with this ruler. So you don't do it again. Okay? I've already told you not to do it 3 times. So now, unfortunately, you need to pay the consequences. I don't see anything wrong with that. Personally, I think kids that are brought up that way become much better adult human beings later on. Agree with it, disagree with it, put it in the comment section, but please keep it polite. And I don't mind disagreement, I don't mind the debate, but let's not turn this into a shit throwing show. Okay? So, I digress. When there are annoying kids, usually it's because parents are a-holes and parents are not doing their job. So these annoying kids do not get created in one day. A good kid doesn't just suddenly decide to act out when they've been well behaved all the time. Okay, it's something that happens over time. Which means if you want to correct this suddenly and abruptly, it's not impossible, but it's going to be very unpleasant for everybody. So the best way is a long way. Okay, so let's talk about that. How do you do this? Remember, they are kids. Okay, so when an annoying kid is annoying the crap out of you, especially if this is an ongoing situation, rather than trying to reason with them, you can't reason with kids, okay? Like I I I've heard this said before, you can't reason with stupid. And while a lot of kids are very smart, they don't have the right mentality for you to reason with them, right? You can't use morality. You can't use right or wrong. You can't use gratitude or guilt trip or stuff like that. You can't use that on kids, right? So the best way to do this is if it's again if it's an ongoing situation, you need to use your brain and divert their attention. Use a bit of child psychology, and you will find that these kids, while they're really annoying, really loud, and they throw a temper tantrum, their parents don't seem to know how to deal with them. You might suddenly uh, be able to handle them like a pro. Okay, let me give you guys two examples using two stories that we use in child psychology. Story number one: the old man and uh, the group of kids, the old man and the group of kids. So once upon a time, there's this old man who lives alone. He's very old, so he's very tired all the time. But because he lives alone, he has a big yard. So the neighborhood kids like to come and play in his yard. And they make a horrible racket with throwing balls, breaking glasses, leaving litters everywhere, and screaming and crying and hitting each other, chasing each other around with sticks and stones, and just driving this old man nuts, right? But he couldn't go out there and chase them away because he's old and weak, and they all ran faster than him. They would end up just laugh at him, and he couldn't go to their parents because their parents would just say, "Well, you have a big yard, and our kids are just playing. They're not hurting anybody. They're just kids, right?" The parents were a-holes. So this old man came up with a way to deal with them. One day, when he heard these kids making a ruckus out in his yard, he went outside and he counted, oh, one, two, three, four, there's eight of them. So he said, hey, hey, kids, hey, boys, come here for a second. And these kids came over, what do you want? What do you want, old man? Yeah, they're not very polite. The old man said, I'm really grateful that you guys come and play in my yard. I love kids, and I'm a lonely old man, and you guys come in here. It's helping me out so much. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. So here, I'll give you each of you $5. There's eight of you. I'll give each of you $5 so you can go and get some ice cream and soda, just to show my gratitude. And these kids were so happy, and they went away happy. They got $5 each. They went to the store and left him alone. But of course, next day they came back, and the next day he gave him again $5 each. And this went on for a couple of days, and then suddenly, 3 days later, the kids showed up expecting $5. The old man said, "Well, I'm a poor old man. I don't have a lot of money to keep giving you. So today, I'm sorry, but I'm only able to give you guys $2 each. But hey, thank you for coming by and visit me and play in my yard. You really helped me out. I know, like, you guys really enjoy helping me. So yeah, here's $2 each." And the kids were kind of disappointed. They were expecting the $5, but now it's down to $2. A couple of days later, he said, "Well, I only can give you guys $1 each today." The kids were really unhappy now. And 2 days go by, and he's like, "I can only give you guys 30 cents each." The leader of the pack, the leading kid, threw the money back in his face and, "I don't want your freaking 30 cents. What do you think? We're cheap child labor? When we're never coming again. You enjoy your lonely life." And they went away. And just like that, he got his peace and quiet back without having to raise his voice or chasing these kids all over the place. It cost him a bit of money, but yeah. So this is one great example of, if you have the time to do this, find a way to divert their attention to make it think. They may think they're playing, but what he did was he made it seem like they were working for him. And so when he stopped being able to pay them, they went away. They didn't want to come back. So that was story number one, a great example of child psychology. Uh, Story number two is the teacher and the student. So once upon a time, there was a student. He's very good with most of his subject. He's good with English, he's good with music, he's good with art, but he sucked at math because he kept skipping math classes. So when the counselor found out about that, the counselor called him to his office and he said, "Hey, what's going on here? You keep skipping the math class, and this is affecting your grade. So what's going on?" And the kid said, "Because I hate Mr. Tai. I hate Johnny Tiger. I hate Mr. Johnny Tiger. Uh, uh, because he sucks. He's boring. He looks ugly, right? I don't like to listen to his class. His class is boring." Now, a lot of counselors at this point will start lecturing the kids. Well, you can't do that. I'm going to call your parents and yada yada yada. No, when you do that to kids, a lot of time you're just going to get the opposite effect, right? They're just going to not come to school at all if you start to uh, effect, try to punish them and get the parents involved. Instead, the counselor said to the kids, I agree with you. I'm so glad you feel. I thought I was the only person who feel that way. Yeah, that Johnny Tiger, that Mr. Johnny Tiger, it's so annoying. But it's I've been trying to get rid of him for ages, right? You hate him, I hate him, but the problem is he's still here. He get his pay every month. He just got a bonus last month, in fact, and that really pissed me off. So you want to help me out? You want to help me out to get rid of him? And the kids, yeah, 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 yeah. Dude, if we can get rid of him, that would be so cool because he's like the worst math teacher out there. So the counselor said to the kids, "I'll tell you what, the only way we're ever going to get rid of a teacher is if you can catch that he's doing something wrong. And usually, if it's either he has to do something wrong, uh, physically, or if you can prove to the principal that he's not a very good teacher and he's teaching the wrong material and he's making mistakes in class. Okay, so tell you what, if you can bring me proof of him making mistakes during his teaching, then I will take it to the principal and we can get rid of him just once and for all, right? That would be great, right? And don't let anyone know you're my secret agent. So this kid who up to this point liked to skip math class, he started attending math class, and he couldn't just sit there and not show interest because if he really wanted to catch the teacher making any mistake, if he wanted to catch Johnny Tiger make mistake, he has to know the material. He has to know, okay, 2 times 2 equals 4. And so if Johnny Tiger said 2 times 2 equals 5, then he can write that down and bring it to the counselor, and then the counselor can take it to the principal. So he had to study very hard to make sure he knew what Johnny Tiger was talking about, so he could catch Johnny Tiger making any mistake. And guess what? Johnny Tiger was not making mistakes. So the kids studied harder and harder, really went over those textbooks and really went over those formulas, trying to find the weakness in this math teacher. And a year went by, and this kid was the greatest mathematician in the entire school. So there again, we have a great example of the counselor using child psychology rather than going against the kid. He made the kids feel that, hey, I am a secret agent, and the counselor and I both hate this teacher, so I'm not alone. I have friend. I have a purpose. I'm going to math class and studying the math for a purpose. This is how you deal with annoying kids, right? You divert their attention, you make them feel that they are doing what they want while they are slowly steering them toward doing what you want. This sounds like manipulation, and it is manipulation, but believe me, it's the best way to deal with them, much more so than the next two way I'm going to tell you. Now, a lot of people are going to say, that takes too long. Look, when the kids is annoying me, I don't have days or months to steer them to see things my way. How do I deal with them? Well, I understand that. Like I said, you're on the plane, You don't have days to reason to try to manipulate these kids. So in these cases, we go to plan B and plan C, which are not quite as nice, but hopefully they'll be effective. So plan B is called instant karma. Okay. Uh, Sometimes the best way to deal with annoying kids is not the nice way. You don't have time to be nice, right? And one of the ways to make them learn and keep them from being that annoying in the future is to introduce them to karma. And what do I mean by karma? I'm going to tell you guys a joke and then a true story to illustrate my point. So this joke, it's one of my favorite jokes actually. So little Johnny and his sister, little Mary, they were in the other room playing, and suddenly little Johnny screamed and came running over to his mom and said, "Mom, Mary bit me. It really hurts. Can you do something about her? She keep biting me." And Johnny's mom is busy watching TV or cooking dinner or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, come on, Johnny. Your sister's so young. She doesn't understand. Okay? You should be a good big brother and forgive her. She doesn't understand. Okay?" And yeah, like I said, if you do things like that, you're an asshole. Like parents, don't do that. If your kid's doing something wrong, don't make the other person don't make the victim feel like it's them. That's wrong. Okay? If the victim complained to you, you should take action on your kids. So later, at the dinner table, suddenly, in the middle of dinner, little Mary screamed and started crying and holding onto her arm. And the mom looked over. "What happened? What happened?" And little Johnny looked her in the eyes, and he said, "Well, now she knows it fucking hurts." Yeah, that's one of my favorite joke and short stories. Like this is how you do that, right? You want to say they don't understand? It's your job to make them understand that you bite people, some consequences going to happen. You don't just laugh it off. Second story. This is actually a true story that was captured on the security camera. I can't remember was it Costco or Walmart. We'll just say Walmart. So this was captured on the security camera of a Walmart somewhere, and there was this guy who was at the counter trying to empty his cart and check out, and there's this annoying little kid behind him with his mom, and this annoying little kid was using the shopping cart to try to play bumper car with the guy. So basically, this guy is trying to conduct his purchase, and this little kid is trying to ram into him with a shopping cart. So this guy, we can't really hear what's going on, but everything's very clear. This guy turned around and said something to the kid. So we can imagine it's something along the lines that, "Hey kid, quit it, right? Don't do that." And then he turned back and continued to conduct his business, and the kids tried to hit him with the shopping cart again. This time, the guy turned around and talked to the kid's mom. Again, we can't hear what he said. They had a short but very brusque conversation. So again, we can probably imagine it's something like, "Hey, lady, can you do something like can you stop your kid from doing that shit?" And the lady was like, "Dude, he's just 5 years old. It's okay. He's just a kid." Okay, it's probably something like that because on the camera there's no evidence that the mom said anything to the kid or tried to stop the kid. So the guy, after talking to the mom, went back to conducting his purchase, and the kid hit him again with the shopping cart, and then the guy did something that honestly, like for some of us that really get annoyed by kids, it's a moment that makes you clap your hand. Rather than hitting the kid or anything drastic like that, the guy grabbed a can of soda from his purchase, opened the soda, and poured the entire can of soda down the kid's shirt. Now, obviously it was chaos after that. The mom screaming at the guy, and the kids was crying, and everyone in the store came over. But you know what? He did not hurt the kid. He made the kids very uncomfortable. If the kid's going to walk around with sticky shirt for the rest of the day, he made the mom very pissed off and uncomfortable. But you know what? The kid was making him very uncomfortable. So why should the kid get away with it? Now, I don't believe that the guy should punch the kid or anything like that, but I think what he did was a very harmless form of immediate punishment, immediate consequences that tells the kid, hey, don't do that. Otherwise, something very unpleasant is going to happen to you. I would almost bet you $10 that that kid from that day on is not going to do that bumper car thing anymore in the store because he is going to remember how unpleasant this experience was when when that bad man poured soda all over him, right? I'm pretty sure this is going to stay in that kid's memory. He probably get PTSD from that crap. But you know what? I think it's this kind of reaction is warranted when you have already tried to communicate with the kid and then you try to communicate with the parent and the problem persists. And in this case, immediate karma is plan B. Now let's look at plan C. So those of you that watch my videos already know that I have a lot of crap in my house, right? I'm a collector of a lot of stuff, and I have artwork, I have statues, I have tons and tons of action figures. A lot of these things are very valuable. Some of these action figures are worth almost $1,000 at this point, right? Um, so it's a nightmare. Even when I was younger, it was always a nightmare when kids come into my place and suddenly decide that all these action figures are toys and they should be taken off the bookshelf and they are going to bash Superman against Batman because they're going to reenact a battle and then almost without doubt things is going to get broken. And then, I'm standing here, me being their sensei or me being their uncle or something, I can't get mad. I want to get mad. I want to sit down on the floor and drum my heel against the floor. You just ruined a $500 action figure that I can't even get anymore. This is a 20-year-old action figure, the last action figure that my father ever got me. I want to rage, I want to cry, I want to throw a temper tantrum, I want to do something very unpleasant to the kids and their parents. But because I'm the sensei, or because I'm the nice uncle, or I'm the cousin, I have to swallow that, and I have to put a smile on my face and say to their parents, no, 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 it's okay, no, 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 don't hit them, don't hit them, it's okay, it's okay, it's just it's just an action figure. It's just a toy. That's basically how I would sound. It's just a toy. Huh? How many of you have experienced that? I bet a lot of you have experienced that. And in cases like this, we are doing it totally wrong. Okay, plan C. When kids are doing something like that, damaging your property, ruining your life, messing up something from your collection, don't be the nice guy. Okay, don't be the nice guy. Because it's their parents that not educating them, but if you are also trying to let this pass, you are reinforcing that. You are help you're just as guilty as their parent. So plan C. I'm not saying that you hit the kid or hit the parent, even though you might feel like it. Plan C, be embarrassing. Be that rude person. Okay? If they are if it's your property being threatened, if it's your collection being threatened, if it's you who's being uh, put in a awkward position, don't let it go. Okay? Be embarrassing. Be rude. Okay? So, for example, your little nieces and nephews like to come over. Every time they come over, it's like a nightmare for you because they come over, they break your stuff. the $5,000 statue or that painting on the wall or stuff like that because they are trying to play basketball in your living room, and you don't know what to do. Okay, this is what you do. The moment they get in the door with their parent, you say very loudly and very clearly so everybody, including their parents, this is actually more for their parents to hear. Hey, George. Hey, David. I really like it when you guys come here, but look over there. Okay, that is very expensive. It's a $5,000 statue. I do not want you guys anywhere near that. Okay? I do not want any ball game in my living room because there's a lot of expensive stuff in here. And if you guys break anything, then mommy and daddy would have to pay for them. Okay? Make it nice and obvious, nice and loud. Everybody can hear it. Yes, some people, some relatives are going to tell you you are uncouth. Some relatives are going to tell you that you are acting like a child. But the hell with that. Just because they indulge the kids doesn't mean that you should suffer because of it. And when the kids go against your wish and break something, make a scene. I'm not saying like you actually sit down on the floor and like cry and stuff like that, but don't say things like, "Oh, no, no, it's okay. They don't understand." No, it's not okay. Okay? The way to do this is it's be as embarrassing as you can. Right? Oh man, I hate it when you guys do that. Like, look. uh, I know you think your kids don't mean it, and maybe they don't. But do you know where I got this from? Do you know that I got like this was something that my dad gave me, and you can't even get this anymore? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You tell me, right? You tell me what I'm gonna do. Uh, do you know how expensive this is? It's not even the matter of money, right? This my dad gave this to me. Oh man, I just know it. I just know that you guys going to make this happen. And every time you see them, bring it up. Every time you see them, bring it up. I bet you these kids are gonna be so well behaved around you in no time at all. Because every time they come to your place, their parents going to threaten them with certain kind of violence. Okay, you know how unpleasant your uncle is. He's still bitching about you breaking his mural on the wall. So you better behave yourself because if you go in and you give your uncle more reason to bitch at me, I am going to really show you what's what when we get home. Right? I mean, just imagine that would be the kind of conversation that go on in the car because you are making the parents uncomfortable. Right? I already mentioned when there's annoying kids, the real culprit are the parents. So when I say plan C is to be embarrassing, to be rude, you're really targeting the parent. You're making the parent uncomfortable. So by doing that, the parents have no choice but to keep a tighter leash on their kids. So um, it was a little bit of a tangent-driven episode today. So let me quickly recap. So we have three ways to deal with annoying kids. Number one, the nice, gentle way, but it's a long way, to use child psychology and try to make them do what you want while they are thinking it's what they want. And that's the most gentle way. Number two, introduce them to immediate karma. Okay, you don't have to hurt them, but you definitely can make things very uncomfortable the moment that they act up and then you try to communicate and they refuse to listen. Number three, be rude, loud, obnoxious, and embarrassing whenever they cross your boundary. Okay, that is how you can get their parents to be so uncomfortable that their parents will try to ring them in. Thank you for checking out today's episode. Again, I know that probably offended some people with this episode, so if you have something that you want to get off your chest, leave it in the comment section. Otherwise, if you agree with what I say, please like and subscribe.